The forest is beautiful, dark, and silent. But when night falls, some roads winding through the trees hide something far more sinister than nature itself. Phantom lights flicker along empty highways. Shadowy figures appear between the trunks. And travelers hear whispers calling their names when no one is there. Some forest roads are known for strange encounters. From ghostly hitchhikers to mysterious sounds that echo through the night. Tonight, we explore 20 haunted forest roads in America. Where the unknown awaits those bravia or foolicia enough to venture through. Forest roads seem quiet, safe, and isolated. But for those who travel them at the wrong hour, the peaceful scenery can turn into a nightmare. Across the United States, haunted forest roads have been the scenes of mysterious disappearances, tragic accidents, and paranormal activity. Travelers report ghostly figures walking along deserted highways, unexplained engine sounds in the dead of night, and shadows that vanish when approached. Some forests were sites of old tragedies, others were home to legends passed down for generations. The trees themselves seem to watch, creaking and groaning as if warning those who enter. Imagine driving down a narrow road, the moonlight barely illuminating the path. You feel a sudden chill, see a figure standing in the shadows. And hear your name whispered by the wind. Would you stop and investigate, or speed away, heart pounding, hoping the apparition does not follow? As we explore these 20 haunted forest roads. Picture winding asphalt, towering trees, mist curling over the pavement, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to rest. Clinton Road in New Jersey stretches through dense forests and winding curves, a road steeped in history and shadowed by tales of the unexplained. For decades, travelers have spoken of strange encounters along this isolated stretch, where the familiar landscape of trees and pavement seems to shift into something otherworldly as darkness falls. The road, narrow and serpentine, carries the weight of countless stories, each whispered and retold, blending local legend with eerie sensation. Each whispered and retold, blending local legend with eerie sensation. During the day, Clinton Road appears almost ordinary, lined with trees whose branches meet overhead to form a tunnel of green. The air is still, carrying the faint scent of earth and foliage. Yet even in daylight, there is an awareness of isolation, a subtle tension in the quiet that hints at the Roada's reputation. Some visitors report sudden drops in temperature as they drive, chills that pass over them without warning. Shadows seem to move just beyond the edges of vision, and the imagination begins to fill the spaces left by ordinary sights. As night falls, the road transforms. The darkness between the trees deepens, and headlights reveal glimpses of the unexpected. Travelers speak of ghostly children appearing along the roadside, their figures flickering in and out of view. Some claim to see phantom trucks emerging suddenly, only to vanish when approached, leaving a sense of disorientation and unease. The surrounding woods amplify every sound, turning distant rustlings into something uncanny, and making even familiar noises seem unfamiliar and threatening. Clinton Road has a history that fuels its mysterious reputation. Over the years, countless tales have emerged of accidents, strange occurrences, and encounters that defy explanation. Visitors have reported hearing chanting or distant screams echoing from the trees, sounds that seem to have no source. Some claim that old stone bridges and unmarked intersections hold residual energy, a lingering presence of past events that refuses to fade. These reports, whether experienced firsthand or shared in legend, have cemented Clinton Road as a destination for those drawn to the unknown. The road itself is a character in its own right, winding through forests that are dense and dark. Trees lean over the asphalt, their limbs creating shifting patterns in the glow of headlights. Fog can roll in unexpectedly, reducing visibility and heightening the sense of isolation. The combination of natural and supernatural elements makes every journey unique, a blend of anticipation and trepidation. Travelers describe a heightened awareness, an instinctive sense that something may be watching from the shadows or moving just beyond the line of sight. The combination of natural and supernatural elements makes every journey unique, a blend of anticipation and trepidation. Travelers describe a heightened awareness, an instinctive sense that something may be watching from the shadows or moving just beyond the line of sight. The road itself is a character in its own right, winding through forests that are dense and dark. One of the most reported phenomena involves the ghostly children who appear on or near the road. Some drivers claim the children appear suddenly, standing in the middle of the road or along the shoulder, only to vanish when approached. Their presence is described as fleeting and ephemeral, yet deeply unsettling. It is as though the road itself holds on to echoes of innocence and loss, memories that manifest in spectral form. These sightings are often accompanied by inexplicable cold drafts or sudden movements in the trees, further enhancing the eerie atmosphere. It is as though the road itself holds on to echoes of innocence and loss, memories that manifest in spectral form. These sightings are often accompanied by inexplicable cold drafts or sudden movements in the trees, further enhancing the eerie atmosphere. These sightings are often accompanied by inexplicable cold drafts or sudden movements in the trees, further enhancing the eerie atmosphere. It is as though the road itself holds on to echoes of innocence and loss, memories that manifest in spectral form. These sightings are often accompanied by inexplicable cold drafts or sudden movements in the trees, further enhancing the eerie atmosphere. One of the most reported phenomena involves the ghostly children who appear on or near the road. Phantom vehicles are another common occurrence along Clinton Road. Drivers have recounted seeing trucks or cars appear from nowhere, moving at impossible speeds or in unusual ways, only to disappear as they approach. These sightings often provoke a sense of disbelief and fear, leaving those who witness them unsure whether they experienced reality or imagination. Lights in the woods, sometimes flickering or moving in unnatural patterns, add another layer to the unsettling ambience. Shadows cast by these lights seem to stretch and shift, forming shapes that suggest presence without revealing form. Even without visual phenomena, Clinton Road exerts a psychological effect on visitors. The combination of isolation, history, and darkened surroundings creates an atmosphere where ordinary sensations become charged with meaning. The rustle of leaves, the snap of a branch, or the distant cry of an animal can take on a supernatural quality. Many report a sense of being observed, a subtle awareness that the road is more than asphalt and trees. It is a conduit for the unknown, a space where the boundary between the natural and the unexplained feels thin. As the night deepens, the tension on Clinton Road becomes palpable. The twisting curves, dense foliage, and occasional fog all contribute to an environment where perception is heightened. Ghostly children, phantom trucks, glowing lights, and distant sounds combine into an immersive experience that engages both the senses and the imagination. Each journey along the road is unique, shaped by the individual's awareness, the time of day, and the interplay of natural and supernatural forces. Clinton Road endures as one of New Jersey's most infamous haunted locations, a place where history, legend, and the unexplained converge. Its forests and curves, shadows and lights, create an atmosphere that is both captivating and unnerving. Visitors leave with stories of fleeting figures, unexplained sounds, and moments that defy rational explanation. The road itself remains unchanged, yet its reputation persists, reminding all who travel it that some paths hold more than meets the eye, and that in the quiet of the forest, the past may still be walking among the living. Route 211 in Virginia winds quietly through dense forests and rolling hills, a stretch of highway that seems ordinary at first glance but holds stories that linger long after dark. The asphalt snakes through shadowed groves, flanked by towering trees that block much of the fading sunlight, and as night falls, the highway transforms into a place where the ordinary meets the inexplicable. As night falls, the highway transforms into a place where the ordinary meets the inexplicable. Travelers report an uncanny stillness as they drive along the remote sections of Route 211. The air can suddenly feel colder, a chill that is not explained by the weather or the time of year. These cold spots are often accompanied by a sense of being watched, an almost imperceptible awareness of presence just beyond the edge of vision. Drivers tell of glimpsing figures along the roadside, pale and shadowy, sometimes standing motionless near the tree line and at other times moving with unnatural swiftness before vanishing into the darkness. Phantom headlights are another phenomenon reported along the highway. Vehicles appear in the distance, their lights glowing with intensity. Yet as drivers approach, the road is empty. The headlights vanish without a trace, leaving behind only the hum of the engine and the echo of Oni's own heartbeat. These fleeting visions are enough to unsettle even the most seasoned travelers, suggesting that Route 211 is more than just a corridor for passagers. It is a conduit for the unseen. Accidents along the highway have contributed to its reputation. Over the decades, numerous collisions have occurred in similar locations, often under mysterious circumstances. Some of these sites are said to be hotspots for ghostly activity, where the memory of past tragedies manifests in subtle ways. Drivers report seeing sudden apparitions crossing the road, shadowy figures that appear without warning, forcing evasive action or fading just before impact. The highway seems to remember, carrying echoes of past events in the quiet night air. The surrounding forest adds to the sense of isolation and suspense. Thick canopies filter the moonlight, casting long shadows across the pavement. Wind stirs the branches, producing sounds that can be mistaken for footsteps or distant voices. At times, the trees themselves seem alive with movement, shadows shifting in ways that suggest unseen observers. The combination of darkness, foliage, and history creates a setting in which the ordinary rules of perception feel suspended, leaving drivers hyper-aware and attuned to every subtle cue. Stories from locals further enrich the highway's enigmatic reputation. Residents recount tales of figures that appear suddenly on curves, sometimes raising a hand in warning, other times standing silently before vanishing. Passers-by have described seeing strangers emerge from the trees, their faces pale and indistinct, offering fleeting glimpses of forms that seem rooted in another era. These sightings are often accompanied by strange sounds as soft murmurs, the rustle of clothing, or the distant echo of voices carried by the wind. The highway's atmosphere is particularly potent during foggy nights. Dense mist rolls across the pavement, reducing visibility and intensifying the sense of unreality. Shadows stretch unnaturally, headlights scatter in diffuse halos, and the landscape seems to shift with each bend. Drivers describe a feeling of entering a liminal space, a place suspended between the known and the unknown, where the boundary between the living and the unseen feels fragile. Every curve and hillcrest becomes a stage for phenomena that defy rational explanation. Even during daylight hours, Route 211 retains a sense of unease. Quiet stretches of road appear untouched, yet the presence of history lingers. Abandoned structures along the roadside, remnants of old homesteads or service stations, add to the impression that the highway exists in a dialogue with the past. Visitors report glimpses of movement inside shuttered windows. Shadows that seem to dart just beyond the reach of clarity create a heightened awareness. The experience is subtle, yet it fosters a sensation that the road itself is alive with memory. Over time, Route 211 has attracted those seeking to experience its mysteries firsthand. Paranormal enthusiasts and curious travelers alike venture along the winding highway, hoping to witness the strange phenomena for themselves. Some leave with stories of apparitions, sudden temperature drops, or phantom headlights, while others describe an inexplicable sense of unease, a feeling that they are not truly alone. The highway offers encounters that are both personal and collective, bridging history, memory, and the unknown. At its core, Route 211 embodies the interplay between place and perception. The forested highway is more than a passage from one point to another, it is a canvas for experiences that engage the senses and imagination. Each bend, shadow, and flicker of light contributes to an atmosphere that is simultaneously captivating and unsettling. The stories of cold spots, ghostly figures, and phantom vehicles form a tapestry that weaves together past and present, tragedy and mystery. At its core, Route 211 embodies the interplay between place and perception. Traveling Route 211 is a journey into both history and the unseen. Drivers navigate winding curves with a heightened sense of awareness, attuned to every shadow and shimmer. The highway holds the echoes of lives and events long past, offering glimpses of a world just beyond the ordinary. Whether through sudden chills, apparitions along the roadside, or phantom lights that appear and vanish, Route 211 presents an experience that is immersive, atmospheric, and unforgettable. In the quiet moments, when the forest envelopes the road and the headlights of Oni's vehicle cut through the darkness, the highway speaks in subtle ways. It is a place where memory lingers, where the past is present, and where the unknown feels both near and inevitable. Travelers leave with more than stories. They carry the impression of having touched a threshold, experiencing a corridor where history, mystery, and the unseen converge, leaving a lingering sense that Route 211 holds secrets that will endure as long as the forest-lined highway stretches through the Virginia landscape. Ghost Road in Ohio winds through dense forests, a narrow path shrouded in shadow and mystery. Ancient trees lean over the roadway, their branches intertwining to form a natural tunnel where sunlight rarely penetrates. The air carries a damp chill, and the scent of moss and earth hangs heavily, giving the road an otherworldly atmosphere even in the brightness of day. Travelers who venture along this secluded route often report a profound sense of being watched. The forest seems to breathe around them, each rustle of leaves and snap of a twig amplified in the stillness. Some describe sudden drops in temperature, cold spots that linger without explanation, or a feeling that the road itself is alive, holding memories of those who have traveled it long before. Unexplained lights are frequently reported along Ghost Road, appearing without source and moving in ways that defy reason. These phenomena have drawn both curiosity and caution, as many feel a mixture of awe and unease in their presence. Observers speak of pale, ethereal glows that vanish when approached, leaving only the darkness and the echo of what seemed real moments before. Shadowy figures are another common sight. Glimpsed from the corner of the eye, they move silently among the trees or step onto the path before disappearing. Some travelers recount seeing the silhouettes of people who appear disoriented, frozen in time, as if replaying moments from the past. The figures are indistinct, sometimes flickering in and out of view, leaving witnesses questioning whether they have seen reality or a trick of the mind shaped by the forest's oppressive atmosphere. The road itself holds a history of accidents, disappearances, and long-forgotten travelers. Locals whisper of those who were lost to the darkness, their spirits wandering still, replaying the journeys they could not complete. These stories contribute to the eerie energy of the road, blending history and folklore into a palpable presence that surrounds anyone daring enough to drive or walk its winding curves. Sounds on Ghost Road are often unsettling. A branch may crack without wind, or footsteps echo in the distance though no one is present. Whispers seem to float through the trees, unintelligible yet undeniably human. Travelers report hearing distant voices or the soft shuffle of movement among the underbrush, creating an impression that the road is populated by unseen entities aware of their presence. Fog frequently descends upon the forest, rolling along the path in thick layers that obscure vision and deepen the sense of isolation. In these moments, light sources appear even more mysterious, casting eerie reflections on leaves and wet pavement. The fog softens sound and stretches shadows, turning familiar trees into alien shapes, and heightening the tension that fills the air, and deepen the sense of isolation. Even in daylight, the forest exerts a hypnotic grip on those who enter. The combination of towering trees, twisting roadways, and hidden clearings creates a landscape where the imagination easily takes hold. Visitors have described moments of vertigo or disorientation, a sensation of time shifting and the road stretching endlessly. In these quiet intervals, the presence of lost travelers and restless spirits feels closer, brushing against perception without revealing itself fully. Nightfall transforms Ghost Road into an environment of heightened mystery. Headlights cut through darkness but illuminate only fragments of the path ahead. The forest seems to close in, the shadows thickening, and every movement or sound magnified. Figures appear along the roadside or vanish among the trees, and lights flicker through the darkness, drawing the eye and the heart into tension. The isolation amplifies every whisper, every unexplained noise, creating an experience both thrilling and unnerving. Despite the ominous reputation, Ghost Road continues to attract those intrigued by its legends. Drivers and wanderers approach with respect, aware of the Forsta's history and the experiences of those who came before. The combination of natural beauty, historical weight, and the lingering presence of spirits forms a cinematic setting, where history and mystery coexist. Those who walk or drive the path carry with them an understanding that the road is more than asphalt and Teresa. It is a repository of memories, a conduit for lost souls, and a place where the unexplained quietly endures. Ghost Road remains a testament to the unseen. A space where the boundary between the living and the departed is delicate and shifting. Each step along its winding curves, each flicker of light or shadow, reminds travelers that the forest remembers, that those who were lost have not entirely departed. And that in this secluded stretch of Ohio, the past walks quietly alongside the present, waiting to be noticed by those who dare to look. Devil's Hopyard Road winds through the dense woodlands of Connecticut, its asphalt cracked and weathered with age. Tall trees line the edges, their branches intertwining overhead to form a canopy that blocks the sun in the late afternoon, casting the road in muted shadows. The air here is thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, and a quiet settles over the landscape that is broken only by the distant rustle of wildlife or the wind whispering through the branches. Locals speak of strange occurrences along this road, tales passed down from generation to generation. Travelers recount glimpses of shadowy figures standing at the edge of the forest, vanishing the moment they are closely observed. Some speak of hearing ghostly whispers, faint but unmistakable, carried on the wind as if the trees themselves were speaking. The voices are often unintelligible, yet they leave a profound impression, a lingering sense that something unseen is watching. A lingering sense that something unseen is watching. Abandoned structures along the road amplify the unsettling atmosphere. Old farmhouses and decaying barns stand in isolation, their windows dark and empty, doors hanging loosely on rusted hinges. It is near these remnants of the past that the most eerie experiences occur. Some say the spirits of those who once inhabited these buildings linger still, trapped by memory or by unresolved stories. Their presence is subtle, revealed through sudden chills, shifting shadows, or a sense of being followed even when no one else is in sight. Even during the day, Devil's Hopyard Road has a peculiar energy. Sunlight filtering through the dense canopy creates shifting patterns on the pavement, and the wind carries sounds in unpredictable ways. Visitors have reported hearing footsteps echoing behind them when the road is empty, or glimpsing figures out of the corner of their eye that disappear when looked at directly. The combination of isolation, history, and the dense natural surroundings fosters a feeling of suspense that grows stronger as the journey continues. Nighttime heightens the road's eerie reputation. Darkness envelopes the forest, and the isolation becomes profound. Headlights cut narrow paths through the blackness, illuminating glimpses of the landscape that vanish almost instantly. In these moments, the shadowy figures appear more distinctly. They are said to move silently, standing at a distance before dissolving into the trees. Some travelers have described a sudden, icy chill passing over them, an invisible presence brushing against their consciousness in a way that is deeply unsettling. Stories of apparitions are not limited to fleeting glimpses. Some claim to have seen full figures moving purposefully near the old buildings. These figures appear dressed in clothing of another era, adding to the impression that the past is never truly gone. Visitors report feeling an intense sense of being observed, as if these spirits are aware of the living intruding on their domain. The sensations of unease and tension are compounded by the forced natural sounds, which can easily be mistaken for footsteps, whispers, or soft movements in the darkness. The road's history contributes to its haunted aura. Over the decades, it has witnessed countless travelers, settlers, and locals who lived and died along its stretch. Abandoned farms, long-forgotten homesteads, and the remnants of community life hint at lives that were once vibrant but are now only memories. It is within this context that the stories of lingering spirits gain resonance, giving the shadows along the road a depth that feels personal and timeless. Visitors often note a pattern in the phenomena. Shadowy figures appear more frequently near the abandoned buildings. Whispers and cold spots seem to linger at crossroads or bends in the road. Some report that their vehicles stall inexplicably, engines dying for no apparent reason. Or lights flickering when no faults are present or. These small but unsettling events add layers of tension, leaving travelers wary and alert to every sound and movement around them. The forest itself seems to participate in the haunting. Moss-covered trees, tangled underbrush, and fallen branches create shapes that the mind interprets as human forms. The wind carries natural sounds in unexpected ways, amplifying whispers or creating the sensation of movement among the shadows. This interplay of natural and supernatural elements blurs the line between reality and perception, making every journey along Devila South Hopyard Road an experience that lingers in memory. Some who have walked the road in the quiet hours speak of a feeling of being watched long after they have left. Even when returning to familiar surroundings, the sense of the Roada's presence persists. A subtle reminder that the past is embedded in the landscape. The spirits, whether real or the echoes of imagination shaped by history and isolation, leave an impression that is difficult to shake. Its combination of natural beauty, historic remnants, and reported paranormal activity ensures that visitors are both captivated and uneasy. Every shadow, whisper, and sudden chill contributes to the road's mystique, creating a journey that is as much about experiencing the lingering past as it is about traveling the present. Those who travel this road leave with stories, a heightened awareness, and often a lingering sense of awe. The blend of history, isolation, and inexplicable phenomena ensures that Devila South Hopyard Road continues to intrigue, offering a glimpse into a world where the living and the echoes of the past intersect. Along a quiet, shadowed path, Texas State Highway 6 stretches across the heart of the state, cutting through forests, fields, and isolated towns. By day, it appears as any ordinary highway, flanked by trees and open land, carrying travelers to their destinations without incident. Yet as dusk falls, the road seems to shift, taking on an eerie quality that has long been the subject of local legend and whispered stories. The highway becomes quiet, save for the occasional rustle of wine through the trees or the faint hum of tires on asphalt, a stillness that amplifies the unknown. Along certain stretches of the highway, drivers have reported seeing figures at the edge of the road. Phantom hitchhikers appear suddenly, often at isolated corners or deserted pull-offs. They are described as pale and fleeting, sometimes raising a hand to signal a ride before vanishing as a vehicle approaches. These apparitions leave no trace on the road itself, yet travelers speak of a lingering sense of unease, as if the presence of someone unseen continues to follow them down the highway. Empty parking areas along Highway 6 hold their own unsettling tales. Some visitors recount finding tire marks that appear inexplicable, lines pressed into the asphalt with no vehicle nearby. Stories tell of travelers who stopped to investigate these marks, only to discover that people who had been with them moments before seemed to have vanished without a trace. The sudden absence, coupled with the quiet of the surrounding forest, creates an atmosphere thick with mystery. The surrounding forests contribute to the highway's haunting reputation. Tall trees rise close to the road, their branches forming dark, twisting arches overhead. Shadows stretch across the asphalt as headlights pass, creating shapes that appear to move independently. On nights when the fog rolls in from the nearby fields, visibility drops, and the road becomes an otherworldly corridor, where perception is challenged. The combination of darkness, isolation, and shifting shadows heightens the sense that the highway itself is alive, watching, and responding to those who traverse it. Local lore speaks of tragic accidents and vanished travelers. It is said that the highway remembers, that the echoes of past misfortune manifest in fleeting figures. Events that have left an imprint on the land. That the echoes of past misfortune manifest in fleeting figures. Chilling drafts, and sudden feelings of disorientation. Drivers often report an inexplicable heaviness in the air, a sensation that slows reactions and sharpens awareness. Even the most familiar stretches of road can become disorienting under these conditions. As the mind struggles to reconcile ordinary landscapes with experiences that defy explanation. Encounters along Texas State Highway 6 vary widely. Some travelers see fleeting figures in the distance, their forms human but indistinct, vanishing when approached. Others hear voices, laughter, or whispers carried on the wind, sounds that seem just beyond comprehension. The highway itself becomes a stage where the living intersect briefly with the unseen, a space where stories of phantom hitchhikers and disappearing travelers come alive in the imagination of those who pass through. The atmosphere along the highway is enhanced by the natural environment. Open fields meet dense woodland, creating abrupt transitions between light and shadow. Sunlight filtering through trees during the day casts long patterns on the asphalt, while at night, the same stretches become engulfed in darkness. The occasional glimmer of a distant light may seem ordinary at first, yet travelers describe it moving against expectation, hovering where no vehicle should be, or disappearing altogether. Such experiences reinforce the perception that Highway 6 is more than just a road, it is a corridor between the familiar and the unexplained. Stories of vanishing travelers are particularly chilling. Accounts suggest that people who stop to investigate mysterious figures or lights may find companions missing when they look back. Cars parked at isolated pull-offs sometimes show evidence of activity, like tire marks or footprints, yet no person or vehicle is present. The sudden absence creates a profound sense of vulnerability and wonder, leaving those who experience it to question the limits of reality and the nature of what they have witnessed. Despite these tales, Texas State Highway 6 continues to draw curious travelers, thrill seekers, and those fascinated by the unknown. The highway embodies the tension between everyday life and lingering mystery, offering a journey that is at once ordinary and extraordinary. Each trip along its winding stretches holds the potential for stories to unfold, whether in fleeting glimpses, unexplained sounds, or sensations that linger long after leaving the road. In the end, Texas State Highway 6 remains a place where legend and experience intersect. Its forests, empty pull-offs, and quiet stretches offer a setting where phantom hitchhikers, vanishing travelers, and mysterious marks on the asphalt continue to capture the imagination. The highway is both a path through Texas and a passage through the unknown, where every mile holds the possibility of encountering the unseen and where the past, present, and unexplainable converge under the cover of night. Hell Hollow Road in Pennsylvania stretches through dense woodlands and steep inclines. A road that seems forgotten by time yet marked by history and eerie tales. The asphalt winds through shadows of towering trees, their branches intertwining overhead to create a canopy that filters sunlight into fractured beams. And as dusk falls, the road takes on a sense of isolation that feels almost alive. Travelers report an unnerving stillness along Hell Hollow Road, a silence that is quickly punctuated by the subtle sound of movement where none should exist. Cold drafts sweep across the asphalt without warning, chilling the skin and raising goosebumps as though unseen presences pass nearby. The air carries the faint impression of whispers, voices that are indistinct yet undeniably human, echoing softly through the trees and leaving those who hear them questioning what is real. The history of the road contributes to its reputation. Over decades, tragic accidents have occurred in its sharp turns and hidden curves. Vehicles have collided with trees or slipped off the embankments. And some locations along the road are said to be particularly active. Witnesses describe shadowy forms appearing along the roadside, moving quickly or lingering at the edge of visibility. These figures are often described as pale, almost translucent, and their presence evokes both awe and unease. At night, the road's atmosphere intensifies. Headlights illuminate stretches of asphalt that seem to bend and shift under the weight of darkness. Shadows flicker along embankments and in the forest, creating fleeting shapes that vanish when observed directly. Some visitors recount seeing figures standing silently among the trees, watching as they drive past, only to disappear when glanced at a second time. These experiences are accompanied by sounds that defy explanation, rustling in the underbrush, distant footsteps on gravel, or a low murmur carried by the wind. The isolation of Hell Hollow Road amplifies the sensations felt by travelers. With few streetlights and minimal traffic, the road feels as though it belongs to another era. A place where the veil between the living and the unseen is thin. Drivers often report an instinctive sense of being observed, an awareness that unseen eyes follow their passage along the winding road. Many visitors report cold spots that appear suddenly, enveloping the vehicle or the person outside with icy air. These moments are often accompanied by a subtle change in the environment, as if the road itself responds to presence, with shadows deepening and ambient sounds becoming sharper. Shadows seem to deepen, and ambient sounds take on a sharper clarity, from the creak of a branch to the flutter of leaves in a breeze that appears to come from nowhere. The combination of visual and sensory anomalies leaves an impression that Hell Hollow Road is far more than a simple rural pathway. It is a place charged with residual energy. Abandoned structures near the road enhance the sense of mystery. Old homes, barns, and forgotten outbuildings are scattered along the roadside. Their windows dark and doors ajar. Observers report seeing movement inside these structures. Shapes that vanish when approached, or lights flickering within. As if the buildings themselves are haunted by past lives. Even from the safety of a moving car, the feeling of being watched or followed can become overwhelming. Drawing attention to every shadow and movement in the corner of the eye. Hell Hollow Road also holds a psychological effect on those who traverse it. The combination of history, isolation, and environmental cues heightens awareness, making even minor anomalies feel significant. A sudden rustle of leaves, the reflection of headlights on a bent branch, or the sound of footsteps in gravel can provoke strong reactions. The road challenges perception, forcing travelers to consider whether what they see and hear is real or a product of heightened senses, yet the consistency of experiences across decades suggests something more than imagination. Local legends and anecdotal accounts reinforce the road's reputation. Residents speak of figures seen walking along the edge of the asphalt, of shadowy forms rising from embankments, and of inexplicable sounds that echo in the night. Some claim to have been stopped by apparitions that disappeared when approached, while others report fleeting glimpses of travelers from another time, their movements frozen and spectral. The stories are varied but share a common thread of unexplained presence and unease, a reminder that Hell Hollow Road has long been a site where the ordinary intersects with the uncanny. The road's landscape plays a key role in these experiences. Steep hills, thick forests, and sudden curves create natural opportunities for surprise and disorientation. Fog often settles in the hollows, adding an ethereal quality to the scenery. And moonlight filters through trees in patterns that can deceive the eye. These environmental factors combine with the road's history to create moments where perception and reality blend, giving rise to experiences that are both immersive and chilling. Traveling Hell Hollow Road is a journey into a space where the past seems present. The road retains echoes of accidents, lost lives, and the emotions tied to those events, offering encounters that are subtle yet profound. Cold drafts, whispers, and shadowy figures transform an otherwise ordinary drive into an experience charged with tension, curiosity, and the sense of stepping into a realm beyond the visible. As one moves along the winding path, the highway communicates in quiet, compelling ways. Each bend, each shadow, each flicker of movement becomes part of a narrative woven into the fabric of the landscape. Hell Hollow Road is a place where history, mystery, and the unseen converge, leaving travelers with more than story-asa. They depart with a lingering impression of having crossed into a space where the ordinary and the extraordinary coexist, a corridor where memory, tragedy, and spectral presence endure in the Pennsylvania woods. The Blue Ridge Parkway stretches across the Appalachian Mountains, a ribbon of asphalt winding through dense forests, steep ridges, and sweeping valleys. The air here carries the scent of pine and earth, and mist often rolls down from the mountains, blanketing the road in a ghostly veil. Travelers moving along the parkway are enveloped in a landscape that is both breathtaking and isolating, where every bend in the road seems to carry the weight of history. For decades, stories of paranormal activity have followed the parkway. Old lookout points and secluded pull-offs have long been the sites of strange sightings and unexplained phenomena. Drivers report glimpsing figures on the roadside, walking along stretches of pavement only to vanish when approached. Some say these phantom travelers appear dressed in clothing from another era, their faces indistinct in the fog, yet their presence unmistakable. The reports speak of a lingering energy, a sense that the past refuses to remain buried. Unexplained lights are another common feature along the parkway. Late at night, bright orbs have been seen hovering in the forest or darting between the trees, sometimes following the curves of the highway. These lights move in ways that defy natural explanation, appearing and disappearing without warning. Witnesses describe an almost magnetic quality to these phenomena, drawing attention even as they provoke unease. The combination of isolation, darkness, and the parkway's natural beauty enhances the impression that something beyond the ordinary is present. Many of the hauntings are linked to the history of the area. The mountains were once home to settlers, loggers, and travelers. And the parkway itself was carved through the landscape during the early 20th century. Old cabins, crumbling stone foundations, and long-abandoned paths hint at lives that have vanished, leaving only echoes behind. Visitors often report feeling sudden chills, inexplicable unease, or the sensation of being watched when passing these sites. As if the spirits of the past are still aware of those who traverse their old roads. Even in daylight, the parkway carries an unusual energy. Sunlight filters through the dense canopy, creating shifting shadows that play tricks on the eyes. The wind carries sounds through the trees, sometimes mistaken for whispers or footsteps. Travelers have reported seeing fleeting glimpses of figures disappearing into the forest. At times, the air seems to grow heavier, the quiet stretching unnaturally long. Every mile brings a mixture of natural wonder and subtle tension. Secluded overlooks and narrow bridges are particularly noted for unusual activity. Visitors have described hearing distant voices that carry across valleys. Or feeling sudden drops in temperature without any apparent cause. Some report seeing figures standing silently at lookout points. Watching the road below, only to vanish when approached. The combination of height, isolation, and panoramic views seems to amplify these experiences. Leaving travelers with a sense of awe and unease that persists long after they have left. The parkway's forested stretches contribute to the eerie atmosphere. Fog and mist are frequent companions, creating a veil that transforms ordinary trees and rocks into shadowy forms. Movement in the periphery of vision is often interpreted as figures or lights. The interplay of natural and unexplained elements blurs the line between reality and perception. Travelers are encouraged to remain alert. Yet many find themselves captivated by the beauty and mystery of the surroundings. Unable to look away even as tension builds. Accounts of phantom travelers are particularly compelling. Witnesses describe figures appearing along deserted stretches, sometimes walking beside the road or crossing it in the distance. They are often fleeting, vanishing when drivers slow down to observe. The clothing of these figures varies, with some appearing in attire reminiscent of early 20th century travelers, lending a sense of historical continuity to the sightings. These experiences are rarely threatening, but they leave a lasting impression, a reminder of the parkway's layers of history and memory. Lights moving through the forest at night add another layer of intrigue. Orbs of light, sometimes hovering above the trees, sometimes moving swiftly along the ground, are reported frequently by those traveling after dark. Cameras and flashlights rarely capture these phenomena, making them difficult to study, yet eyewitness accounts continue to grow. Many interpret these lights as manifestations of the spirits who once traveled these roads, or as residual energy lingering long after lives have passed. The Blue Ridge Parkway is more than a highway. It is a corridor through time, nature, and mystery. Its beauty is undeniable, yet the stories of apparitions, unexplained lights, and eerie sensations suggest that this is a place where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. Every bend in the road, every shadow cast by the mountains, and every distant light contributes to an experience that is both cinematic and chilling. Travelers along the parkway often find themselves reflecting on the lives that have intersected with this landscape, the spirits of the past leaving an invisible mark on the present. Whether through fleeting glimpses of figures, the sudden chill of the air, or the inexplicable glow of lights in the forest, the parkway invites both wonder and curiosity. The parkway is a place where history, nature, and the unknown converge, offering a journey that lingers in memory long after the final mile has passed. The Blue Ridge Parkway endures as a site of natural beauty and subtle mystery. Its winding roads, panoramic vistas, and deep forests provide a perfect stage for encounters that challenge understanding and spark the imagination. For those who travel its path, the experience is unforgettable, a blend of awe, reflection, and a quiet acknowledgement that some mysteries remain beyond explanation, waiting quietly among the shadows of the mountains. Dark Hollow Road in Missouri stretches quietly through dense forest, a narrow path where sunlight struggles to break through thick branches. The trees arch overhead, creating a natural tunnel that bends with the contours of the land. And the air is heavy with the scent of damp earth and fallen leaves. Even during the day, the road carries a feeling of isolation, as if the surrounding forest is alive, watching every traveler who dares to venture along its course. Locals have long shared stories of ghostly figures appearing along the road. Some describe shadowy silhouettes moving silently among the trees, stepping into the path for only a moment before vanishing as if they were never there. Others report the fleeting glimpses of people frozen in time, appearing disoriented or lost, leaving witnesses questioning whether what they saw was real or a trick of the mind shaped by the forest's eerie atmosphere. Unexplained sounds are another common feature of Dark Hollow Road. The snap of a twig or the rustle of leaves often comes without visible cause. And footsteps echo across the pavement where no one walks. Some travelers hear whispering carried on the wind, unintelligible yet unmistakably human. While others recount the soft padding of phantom animals moving along the forest floor. These sounds amplify the tension, creating an immersive experience that both fascinates and unsettles those who pass through. Nightfall transforms the road into a landscape of heightened mystery. Headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating only brief sections of pavement. And the looming silhouettes of trees. Figures sometimes appear at the edges of the light, vanishing when approached. While strange glows flicker among the foliage. The isolation is palpable, and every rustle, every shifting shadow, seems magnified, intensifying the sense that the forest holds memories of those who have traveled here before. Visitors often speak of cold spots, sudden drops in temperature that appear without warning. These chilling moments are felt most acutely near the deepest sections of the forest, where the road curves sharply. Travelers describe the sensation of being watched, a subtle pressure in the air that makes the hair on their arms rise. And a feeling that the road itself is not entirely empty. Phantom animals have been reported along Dark Hollow Road, fleeting forms of deer, wolves, or dogs appearing and disappearing into the shadows. Their movements are often sudden, startling those who witness them, and their presence contributes to the sense of a liminal world where the natural and the supernatural overlap. Many who experience these sightings speak of a strange calm following the initial shock, as if the road has acknowledged their passage and allowed them to continue. Fog sometimes drifts in along the lower sections of the road, thick and swirling, obscuring visibility and softening sound. The fog intensifies the Roada's otherworldly character, casting light from passing vehicles into an ethereal glow that reflects off trees and damp leaves. In these moments, figures and shapes seem to emerge and retreat within the mist, leaving travelers unsure of what is real and what exists only in the imagination. Despite its reputation, Dark Hollow Road continues to attract those drawn to its legends. People approach with caution, aware of the stories yet eager to witness the unexplained. The combination of history, forested seclusion, and reported paranormal activity creates a cinematic setting, where every curve of the road, every shadow cast by a tree, and every distant sound carries significance. Visitors become part of the narrative, their senses heightened, their awareness of the unseen sharpened. The history of the area adds weight to the haunting. Accounts of travelers lost or injured along the road, combined with folklore passed down through generations, lend credibility to the experiences reported by witnesses. Each story, whether of a figure glimpsed in the dark or a sound heard in isolation, contributes to the lingering atmosphere of suspense and unease that defines the road. Dark Hollow Road is more than a stretch of pavement through Missouri forest. It is a place where the past seems to echo in the present, where the unseen walks alongside the living, and where every journey invites reflection on the unknown. Travelers who move along the road feel its tension and its history, sensing that the forest holds secrets that will remain hidden unless one dares to observe closely and move with care. The combination of ghostly figures, phantom animals, unexplained sounds, and an oppressive, yet mesmerizing natural setting ensures that Dark Hollow Road remains a location steeped in mystery. Each visit is a journey into the unknown, a chance to experience the intersection of history, legend, and the unexplained. For those who walk or drive its winding curves, the forest is alive with stories, shadows, and whispers. And the road leaves a lasting impression that endures long after the last traveler has passed. The Aokigahara Trail winds through the dense, silent heart of the forest at the base of Mount Fuji in Oregon. By day, the path is shadowed by towering trees whose branches intertwine to form a near-impenetrable canopy. Sunlight filters through in scattered beams, illuminating moss-covered rocks and the roots that twist across the forest floor. The air carries the scent of damp earth and pine, and the occasional sound of birds or rustling leaves provides a fleeting sense of life amid the stillness. Yet as travelers move deeper along the trail, a subtle change begins to take hold. The forest grows quieter, the sounds of civilization fading until the only noises are footsteps on the soft ground and the whisper of wind through the dense foliage. It is here that stories of the unexplained emerge. Visitors recount moments of unease, fleeting sensations that someone unseen is watching, a presence. A presence that cannot be traced yet is profoundly felt. The trail seems to absorb sound and thought, leaving those who enter with heightened awareness and a sense that the ordinary rules of the world are suspended. Reports from hikers and explorers describe whispers carried on the wind, voices that seem to drift from nowhere. The sounds are often soft, just at the edge of hearing, and they vanish when one attempts to locate their source. Alongside these whispers, travelers occasionally glimpse figures moving between the trees. They are described as pale and indistinct, glimpsed only briefly before vanishing into the shadows. The figures evoke a sense of recognition, as if they belong to the forest, yet remain separate from it, existing in a space that is simultaneously present and elusive. The oppressive presence that many report is difficult to define. Some describe a weight in the chest, a heaviness that slows movement and clouds thought. Others speak of sudden chills, a cold that cuts through clothing and lingers, seemingly emanating from the very air around them. The forest itself, dense and labyrinthine, enhances these sensations, making navigation a challenge and heightening the sense that one is walking in a world apart. The trees, ancient and silent, form a canopy that both shields and isolates, creating an environment where ordinary perception is stretched to its limits. Paths along the trail twist and curve, obscuring long views and creating sudden encounters with shadows or shapes at the edge of vision. Rocks and roots form natural obstacles, forcing travelers to slow and focus, yet even in careful observation, the forest often feels unpredictable. The combination of isolation, natural beauty, and the history associated with the trail lends a weight to each step. Stories of previous travelers who have experienced the unexplainable lend credibility to new sightings and sensations, creating a feedback loop where expectation and observation intertwine. Visitors often note an overwhelming sense of stillness, as if the forest holds its breath. Time seems to stretch, minutes feeling like hours, as hikers traverse sections where the canopy blocks sunlight entirely. In these moments, ordinary sounds of footsteps, the snap of a branch, distant bird calls become amplified, and the mind is quick to attribute intent or meaning to the smallest anomaly. In this environment, the ordinary becomes uncanny, and the forest takes on an aura that is simultaneously mesmerizing and unsettling. The presence of ghostly figures along the Aokigahara Trail is a recurring theme in accounts from those who explore its depths. Figures are often described as moving slowly, observing travelers from just beyond the trees. Some appear to mimic the actions of those on the path, walking or pausing in tandem. Others are fleeting glimpses, leaving only the impression that someone or something is near. The subtle interplay of light and shadow, combined with the density of the forest, allows these experiences to feel real and immediate, engaging both the senses and the imagination. As the trail winds deeper into the forest, many travelers experience a heightened sense of introspection. The combination of isolation, natural beauty, and the weight of the forest's reputation encourages reflection. While the subtle presence of the unexplained fosters an awareness that goes beyond the physical. Each step becomes a negotiation between caution and curiosity, between the tangible and the spectral. The trail challenges both perception and confidence, asking those who traverse it to navigate not only the forest but the boundaries of what is known and unknown. Ultimately, the Aokigahara Trail is a place where nature, history, and the unexplained intersect. It is a forest that demands respect, offering both beauty and unease to those who enter. Whispers, shadowy figures, and the sense of an oppressive presence are part of the trail's identity, shaping the experiences of travelers who pass through. Each journey becomes a personal encounter with the forest's mysteries, a story written in footsteps, impressions, and the lingering sensation that the ordinary world is, for a time, suspended among the trees. The trail remains both a destination and a cautionary space, drawing hikers who are captivated by the interplay of natural beauty and the unexplained. Every visit carries the potential for extraordinary experience, where subtle movements, fleeting sounds, and the quiet weight of the forest converge. Aokigahara Trail endures as a place of reflection, awe, and mystery, a path where the living walk alongside echoes of the past, and the unseen, and where the forest itself seems to breathe with secrets that may never be fully revealed. Snake Road in Michigan stretches through dense forests and winding curves, a rural highway that has gained a reputation both feared and revered. The road snakes along narrow asphalt paths flanked by towering trees, their branches forming arches overhead that filter sunlight into broken patterns. And as night falls, the highway transforms into a corridor of shadows and whispers. Travelers along Snake Road often speak of a pervasive sense of unease, an awareness that the road itself carries memories of the past. Sudden cold spots appear without warning, brushing across the skin and raising goosebumps, while the stillness is interrupted by faint whispers and movements that seem to emerge from nowhere. The atmosphere is thick with anticipation, as though the road is observing those who dare to traverse it. Historically, Snake Road has been the site of numerous accidents and unexplained disappearances. Vehicles have gone missing or been found abandoned with no signs of the occupants. And certain bends and curves are known for sudden, inexplicable incidents. Witnesses report seeing phantom headlights appear along the road, illuminating the asphalt with an eerie glow before vanishing entirely. These lights often mimic approaching vehicles, only to disappear when one draws near, leaving behind a disquieting silence. Shadowy figures are another common occurrence along Snake Road. Travelers describe glimpses of humanoid shapes moving along the edges of the forest or crossing the highway in fleeting moments. These figures are often pale, partially transparent, and vanish when looked at directly, as if existing on the threshold between worlds. Encounters are sudden and unpredictable, leaving witnesses questioning whether they have truly seen something supernatural or if the mind is playing tricks under the weight of fear and anticipation. The isolation of Snake Road amplifies its unsettling character. With minimal lighting and infrequent traffic, the road feels removed from reality. A place where time slows and senses heighten. Drivers report an instinctive sense of being followed or watched. A sensation that can persist long after the journey ends. Nightfall brings a profound transformation. Shadows deepen along embankments and forested areas, creating shapes that seem almost alive. Fog occasionally rolls in, clinging to the road and further obscuring vision. The combination of darkness, isolation, and environmental anomalies makes the road fertile ground for encounters that challenge perception. A simple reflection or movement in the corner of the eye can provoke intense feelings of dread and curiosity simultaneously. Abandoned structures near the road contribute to its haunting reputation. Old farmhouses, empty barns, and deteriorating sheds stand as silent witnesses to the passage of time and human presence. Observers often report seeing movement within these structures, lights flickering in windows, or shapes retreating into darkness when approached. Even from the confines of a moving car, these anomalies draw attention and heighten the sense that Snake Road is far more than a rural highway. It is a corridor where the living and the unseen intersect. The Rowada's landscape plays a crucial role in the experiences reported. Sharp curves, embankments, and densely wooded areas limit visibility and create opportunities for the mind to interpret natural phenomena as something extraordinary. Fog, drifting mist, and moonlight filtering through branches add an ethereal quality to the surroundings, making the familiar appear strange and unpredictable. Each feature of the road works in concert with its history to produce encounters that are memorable and unsettling. Psychological effects are also notable. The combination of legend, history, and sensory cues heightens awareness and intensifies reactions. Drivers become alert to every flicker of light, every shadow along the roadside, and every sound in the underbrush. Even mundane occurrences can be interpreted as paranormal activity, yet repeated accounts over decades suggest something more than mere imagination. Stories of ghostly headlights, shadowy figures, and fleeting glimpses persist across generations, lending weight to the road's eerie reputation. Local accounts tell of strange timing as well, moments when the road seems to stretch or compress. When encounters occur at the same locations repeatedly. And when the forest itself seems to whisper secrets to those who listen. Some claim to have seen past travelers, their figures frozen in time. While others describe fleeting apparitions that vanish the moment recognition occurs. The narrative of Snake Road is one of suspense, curiosity, and an enduring sense of mystery that draws the brave and the fascinated alike, that lurk in the shadows of these sinister forest roads. Part 114. Traveling Snake Road is not merely a drive. It is an experience where history, mystery, and the unknown converge. Phantom headlights appear and vanish. Shadowy figures move silently among the trees. And the air carries the faint impression of lives that once intersected with this winding highway. The road challenges perception and invites reflection on what lies beyond ordinary sight, creating encounters that linger long after one has departed its curves and shadows. As the journey unfolds, Snake Road reveals itself as a landscape of tension and intrigue. Each bend, each shadow, and each sudden glimmer of light contributes to a story embedded in the asphalt and surrounding forest. It is a place where past tragedies, unexplained events, and human curiosity coexist, leaving travelers with more than memories. They leave with the sensation of having crossed into a space where the ordinary meets the extraordinary. A place where the road itself holds secrets waiting to be discovered. The Devil's Backbone stretches through the dense forests of northern Arkansas, a winding ribbon of asphalt that clings to the hills and twists around the natural contours of the land. The road is narrow and often shrouded in mist, with tall trees arching overhead, their branches forming a natural tunnel. The air is thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and the quiet is profound, broken only by the occasional rustle of wildlife or the distant call of a bird. For generations, travelers along the Devil's Backbone have shared stories of strange encounters and unexplained phenomena. Shadowy figures are said to appear on the curves of the highway, fleeting shapes that vanish when approached. Some witnesses describe the feeling of being watched, a presence lingering just beyond sight. The stories vary in detail, but a common thread persists: this road is different, charged with an energy that defies simple explanation. The winding nature of the highway contributes to its eerie reputation. As vehicles navigate the sharp turns and steep inclines, glimpses of figures at the roadside seem to appear and disappear almost in rhythm with the bends in the road. The figures often vanish when approached, leaving only the memory of a fleeting encounter and the unsettling sense that the forest itself is alive with unseen observers. Drivers describe seeing travelers in clothing from decades past, standing silently or moving slowly along the edge of the pavement. The figures often vanish when approached, leaving only the memory of a fleeting encounter and the unsettling sense that the forest itself is alive with unseen observers. The figures often vanish when approached, leaving only the memory of a fleeting encounter and the unsettling sense that the forest itself is alive with unseen observers. The figures often vanish when approached, leaving only the memory of a fleeting encounter and the unsettling sense that the forest itself is alive with unseen observers. The winding nature of the highway contributes to its eerie reputation. Mist and fog are frequent companions along the Devil's Backbone. During early mornings or cool evenings, a dense fog rolls through the trees, softening the edges of the landscape and cloaking the road in an almost dreamlike haze. Shadows stretch and distort, creating forms that appear human yet are impossible to fully identify. These conditions enhance the mysterious atmosphere, making every turn and every shadow feel charged with anticipation. Some visitors report more than just visual phenomena. Faint whispers, footsteps on gravel, and the sensation of a cold breath against the neck are common accounts. These experiences are subtle but distinct, enough to make travelers glance nervously at the trees or glance over their shoulders as they continue along the road. The combination of the forested environment, isolation, and natural sounds creates a setting in which the imagination is easily drawn to the unseen. But the consistency of reports suggests something beyond mere perception. Local legends contribute to the allure and mystery of the Devil's Backbone. Stories tell of past accidents, travelers lost in the woods, and spirits who linger long after their earthly lives have ended. Many of the reported figures are thought to be echoes of those who met misfortune along the highway, their presence a reminder of the road's dark history. Others speak of ghostly travelers who simply continue their journeys along the twists and turns, forever caught between the past and the present. Even in daylight, the Devil's Backbone can be unnerving. Sunlight filters through the dense canopy, creating shifting patterns on the road that can be mistaken for movement. Trees cast long, angular shadows that stretch across the pavement, making the curves seem deeper and the dips sharper. Travelers often report feeling a sudden drop in temperature or a shiver as they pass certain points, sensations that cannot be easily explained by the weather or terrain alone. At night, the highway transforms entirely. Darkness envelopes the road, and headlights pierce the shadows with limited reach. Figures appear on corners, sometimes walking along the shoulder, sometimes standing motionless, their faces indistinct in the beam of passing lights. The silence of the forest is punctuated by unexplained sounds, and the winding road seems to stretch endlessly, amplifying the sense of isolation. Many travelers describe encounters that are brief yet profoundly affecting. A figure glimpsed at a curve, a shadow crossing the road just beyond sight, or the feeling of an unseen presence following a vehicle for a short distance can leave a lasting impression. The feeling of an unseen presence following a vehicle for a short distance can leave a lasting impression. The Devil's Backbone demands attention, a road that is as much an experience of the mind and senses as it is a passage through the natural landscape. A road that is as much an experience of the mind and senses as it is a passage through the natural landscape. The Devil's Backbone endures as more than just a highway. It is a place where history, nature, and the unexplained intersect. Every curve, every bend, and every shadow seems to hold a story waiting to be discovered. The road invites travelers to witness its beauty and to sense the lingering presence of the past. It is a corridor of mystery, a forested spine where the ordinary and the paranormal exist side by side, offering a journey that is unforgettable and quietly haunting. Those who traverse the Devil's Backbone often leave with more questions than answers. Its winding curves, forested slopes, and the occasional flicker of movement in the mist suggest that the past is never truly gone. The road holds memories and energies that cannot be measured, offering an encounter with the unknown that lingers long after the journey ends. Every traveler along this highway becomes part of its story, adding to the layers of history, legend, and quiet, spectral presence that define the Devil's Backbone. Ghost Road in West Virginia winds through dense forest, a narrow lane where the trees lean close and block much of the sky. The sunlight struggles to reach the forest floor, leaving the road in partial shadow even in the middle of the day. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and fallen leaves, and the silence is punctuated only by the occasional rustle of branches or distant bird call. Travelers often sense that the road is alive, observing their passage as if the forest itself holds memory of every journey. Locals have shared stories for generations about unexplained phenomena along the road. Some witnesses describe seeing travelers from decades past, frozen in time, their faces turned toward the road as though waiting for something that never arrives. The fleeting glimpses of these figures leave those who see them questioning whether the experience is real or a trick of imagination shaped by the forest's oppressive stillness. The sounds along Ghost Road are as unsettling as its shadows. Footsteps echo where no one walks, the snap of twigs comes without visible cause, and whispers drift on the wind, unintelligible yet unmistakably human. Some report the soft padding of phantom animals, deer or dogs that vanish as suddenly as they appear. These sounds heighten the tension, creating an atmosphere where every movement seems imbued with meaning and every pause carries the weight of expectation. Nightfall transforms the road into a landscape of deep mystery. Headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating only brief stretches of pavement. The looming silhouettes of trees. Figures appear at the edges of the light, disappearing when approached, while strange glows flicker among the foliage. The isolation is palpable, and the combination of shadows, sounds, and shifting shapes creates a sense that the forest holds the presence of those who have traveled here before. Cold spots are frequently reported by those who visit. Sudden drops in temperature occur without warning, often near the deepest sections of the forest where the canopy thickens and the road curves sharply. Travelers describe feeling an unseen presence, a subtle pressure that raises goosebumps and makes the air feel charged. The road seems to respond to movement, acknowledging each step while maintaining an aura of unapproachable mystery. Sightings of phantom animals contribute to the road's legend. Shapes of deer, wolves, and dogs appear briefly along the edge of vision, moving silently before vanishing into the darkness. Their presence feels deliberate, as if they are guardians of the forest, observing intruders but remaining just out of reach. Many who witness these figures speak of a strange calm following the initial shock, a sensation that the road has accepted their passage and allowed them to continue safely. Fog often drifts along Ghost Road, especially in the lower sections, thickening around the trees and softening every sound. The mist casts an ethereal glow when illuminated by passing headlights, creating the illusion of figures and shapes moving within it. In these moments, travelers find it nearly impossible to distinguish reality from imagination, and the road becomes a place of heightened perception where even the smallest rustle seems significant. The history of the area adds weight to its hauntings. Tales of travelers lost or injured, combined with folklore passed down through generations, give credibility to the experiences reported by witnesses. Each report of a shadowy figure, a sudden chill, or an unexplained sound contributes to the road's reputation as a place where the past and present coexist in uneasy harmony. Ghost Road is more than a forested path. It is a corridor where memory, legend, and the unexplained converge. Travelers feel the tension in the air, the weight of history pressing lightly on their shoulders, and the knowledge that the forest has witnessed countless stories that will remain untold. Every curve, every shadow, and every sound is part of a larger narrative that unfolds for those who venture along its winding length. Despite the eerie reputation, Ghost Road continues to attract those drawn to its mysteries. Each visit is an opportunity to experience the intersection of history and the unexplained. The road's combination of isolation, forested beauty, and reported paranormal activity creates a cinematic setting, where the ordinary world fades and the unknown takes prominence. For those who travel Ghost Road, the forest is alive with stories, whispers, and shadows, leaving an impression that lingers long after the journey ends. Shadowy figures, sudden chills, and unexplained sounds ensure that Ghost Road remains a place of fascination and unease. Visitors leave with heightened senses, acutely aware of the unseen, and with a lingering curiosity about what lies just beyond sight. Each journey along this forested path is a reminder of the mysteries that inhabit the natural world, and of the stories that endure where history and legend meet in the quiet of the trees. The road is a living testament to memory and myth, a place where the past whispers to the present, and where every traveler becomes part of its continuing tale. Ghost Road in West Virginia stands as a location where the unseen is tangible, the air thick with possibility, and the forest is never truly empty. Every visitor carries away a fragment of the road's enigmatic presence, a reminder that some places retain echoes long after the footsteps have faded. The old Lodge's path winds deep into the forests of Pennsylvania, a remnant of a bygone era when towering trees were harvested and the hum of saws echoed through the valleys. A remnant of a bygone era when towering trees were harvested and the hum of saws echoed through the valleys. Sections of crumbling timber bridges spanning shallow creeks. Sunlight barely penetrates the thick canopy above, casting fragmented patterns on the forest floor and creating shadows that seem to shift with every passing breeze. Casting fragmented patterns on the forest floor and creating shadows that seem to shift with every passing breeze. Creating shadows that seem to shift with every passing breeze. Today, the road is silent, overgrown with moss and tangled roots, with sections of crumbling timber bridges spanning shallow creeks. Sunlight barely penetrates the thick canopy above, casting fragmented patterns on the forest floor and creating shadows that seem to shift with every passing breeze. Casting fragmented patterns on the forest floor and creating shadows that seem to shift with every passing breeze. Travelers who venture along the path often speak of an immediate sense of isolation. The hum of distant roads and towns fades quickly, replaced by the whisper of leaves and the occasional creak of a dying branch. The silence is profound, almost tangible, and it draws attention to the smallest of movements. A fluttering bird, the snap of a twig, or a distant rustle among the trees can feel amplified. As though the forest itself is observing each step. As the day wanes, an unsettling atmosphere takes hold. Shadows grow longer and merge with the darkness between the trees, and the forest seems to breathe around those who traverse it. Many report seeing strange lights, small orbs that flicker in and out of view along the path. These lights appear without source, hovering near the ground or drifting between trees, sometimes darting away as if aware of being observed. The effect is disorienting, a gentle but persistent reminder that the forest is far from ordinary. Ghostly apparitions are another frequent aspect of the old loggers' path lore. Witnesses described figures dressed in the attire of early loggers. Their forms indistinct and partially transparent, moving deliberately along old trails. Or pausing near the remnants of abandoned camps. Some appear to be working, lifting invisible tools or gesturing as if giving directions. Others simply stand and watch, vanishing when approached. Leaving behind a cold draft or a faint imprint of presence that lingers in the air. The path itself is a labyrinth of natural obstacles and historical remnants. Fallen logs, rusted machinery, and remnants of cabins hint at the human activity that once dominated the forest. These relics add to the eerie quality of the road, suggesting stories and lives left incomplete. Hikers often describe a feeling of stepping between worlds, where the past and present seem to coexist. And where the echoes of labor and life long gone linger in the air like a subtle melody of memory. The isolation of the old Logra's path amplifies the forest's natural mysteries. Cold spots appear suddenly along the route, a stark contrast to the surrounding air, and they are often reported in locations tied to apparitions or strange lights. Travelers speak of a sense of being watched, even in the absence of any visible presence. Footsteps in the underbrush seem to follow or precede them, though no other human or animal is near. Each twist of the road, each bend in the trail, carries a heightened awareness of both the seen and unseen. The forest itself seems to respond to human presence in subtle ways. Trees shift in the wind, casting moving shadows that can suggest movement where there is none. The light filtering through the canopy changes as the day progresses, and patterns of sunlight and shadow can give the impression of figures or motion among the trees. These visual cues, combined with the documented experiences of past visitors, create an atmosphere in which imagination and reality intermingle seamlessly. And where the forest's secrets feel just out of reach. Encounters with apparitions often carry a narrative quality. Travelers describe figures appearing near the edges of clearings or along forgotten trails. Pausing to look back before vanishing. Some are fleeting glimpses, seen from the corner of the eye. While others are more distinct, observed for moments long enough to notice movement or expression. These encounters are rarely threatening, yet they evoke a deep sense of awe and curiosity. A recognition that the forest is inhabited by forces beyond ordinary perception. As night falls along the old Logra's path, the forest transforms. Shadows deepen, and the lights and apparitions reported during the day become more pronounced against the darkness. The sounds of nocturnal creatures mix with the rustle of leaves, and the combination of history, isolation, and unexplained phenomena intensifies. The path becomes a liminal space, one that challenges perceptions and invites reflection on the layers of human and natural history that coexist in this remote corner of Pennsylvania. Ultimately, the old logger's path is more than a trail through the forest. It is a corridor through time, memory, and mystery. The abandoned road, the strange lights, the ghostly figures. And the subtle, pervasive sense of the unknown combine to create an experience both captivating and humbling. Every step along the path carries the weight of history and the quiet presence of the unexplained. Those who walk It. Emerge. With. Stories. And. Sensations. That. Linger. A. Reminder. That. Some. Paths. Led. Through. Echoes. Refuse. To. Fade. The. Keeps. Its. Some. Led. But. That. And. That. Echoes. That. To. Fade. The. Keeps. Its. Some. Led. But. That. And. That. Echoes. That. To. Fade. The. Keeps. Its. Some. Led. But. That. And. That. Echoes. That. To. Fade. Maple Road in New Hampshire winds quietly through dense forests and rolling hills, a stretch of asphalt bordered by towering trees whose branches meet overhead, forming a natural canopy that filters the fading light into fractured patterns. By day, it is serene and picturesque, a place where the rustle of leaves and the distant call of birds create a peaceful soundtrack. Yet as night falls, the road transforms, revealing a shadowed character that has long captivated locals and travelers alike. Those who journey along Maple Road after dark speak of an otherworldly presence that seems to inhabit the forest and asphalt alike. Sudden cold drafts sweep across the path without warning, chilling the air around vehicles and pedestrians. Whispers seem to emanate from the trees themselves, unintelligible yet urgent, carrying a sense of longing or warning that heightens the senses and unnerves the mind. Phantom travelers are a recurring sight. Figures emerge along the roadside, sometimes walking slowly along the edges of the asphalt, their shapes faint and ethereal. These apparitions are described as wearing clothing from another era, a detail that gives them a surreal quality, as though glimpses of the past have slipped into the present. They vanish when approached or illuminated by headlights, leaving behind only the memory of movement and the lingering impression that someone or something had been there. Shadowy figures are equally enigmatic, often appearing among the trees or just beyond the shoulder of the road. They seem to observe travelers with silent intent. Their forms are indistinct, darker than the night around them. And yet they are unmistakably humanoid. Many drivers report the sensation of being watched. An awareness that persists even when the figures are no longer visible, creating an atmosphere thick with tension and anticipation. The layout of Maple Road enhances these experiences. Tight curves, dense woods, and uneven terrain limit visibility. Moonlight filtering through the canopy creates shifting patterns on the pavement, giving the impression of movement where none exists. Mist often settles in low areas, clinging to the road and blurring the boundary between forest and asphalt. This combination of environmental factors, coupled with the history and legend surrounding the road, amplifies encounters and leaves a lasting impression on those who traverse it. Locals speak of moments when the road itself seems to change. Distances feel altered, curves appear sharper or longer than expected. And familiar landmarks shift subtly, creating disorientation. These occurrences often coincide with sightings, suggesting that Maple Road is not merely a physical path but a space where perception and reality intersect in unusual ways. Travelers are advised to move cautiously, yet the allure of witnessing the unknown continues to draw the curious and the brave alike. Sounds play a critical role in the haunting atmosphere. Leaves crunch underfoot or tires, though no one is there. The wind carries faint murmurs, sometimes resembling conversations, other times the echoes of footsteps behind or beside passing vehicles. The stillness amplifies these noises, transforming ordinary natural sounds into something uncanny. Even distant animal calls take on a strange tone, as if echoing from another world. Encounters along Maple Road are often fleeting but deeply affecting. Witnesses report seeing figures pause, turn, or gesture before fading into the darkness. Some have experienced sudden sensations of being followed, only to find the path empty when they stop and look back. Others describe glimpsing movements in the corner of their eyes, moments that vanish instantly when attention is fully directed. These interactions, brief yet intense, contribute to the enduring reputation of Maple Road as a site where the past and present converge. The historical context adds weight to the stories. Maple Road has existed for generations, a vital route linking communities and serving as a conduit for countless journeys. Tragedies, lost travelers, and accidents along the way have become part of its narrative, and many believe that the energy of these events lingers, manifesting as the spectral figures and phantom travelers reported today. The road embodies both memory and mystery, a living record of the lives and events that unfolded along its path. Night travelers often describe a growing tension as they move deeper into the wooded stretches. The combination of limited visibility, faint lights, and shifting shadows creates a sense of unreality. Vehicles' headlights illuminate fleeting glimpses of figures that vanish upon closer inspection. The forest itself seems alive, responding to the presence of those who traverse its edge. Every turn, bend, and rise in the road offers the potential for another encounter, making each journey unique and unpredictable. Maple Road is more than a stretch of asphalt, it is a threshold where the ordinary meets the extraordinary. Phantom travelers, shadowy figures, unexplained movements, and whispers create an immersive experience that lingers long after the journey ends. The road challenges perception, inviting reflection on what exists beyond the visible and encouraging a heightened awareness of the subtle, the fleeting, and the unexplained. The ordinary meets the extraordinary on this threshold, where the veil between worlds is at its thinnest. Travelers emerge from Maple Road carrying stories, unease, and wonder. The interplay of history, environment, and the inexplicable ensures that each passage is memorable, blending natural beauty with supernatural intrigue. As dawn approaches and the shadows recede, the road returns to its daytime tranquility. Yet the knowledge of what may have been witnessed lingers. Maple Road remains a place of mystery, a corridor where the living encounter echoes of the past, and where the forest holds secrets that continue to captivate and haunt. Spook Hill Road winds through the dense forests of upstate New York, a narrow, shaded passage where sunlight struggles to pierce the thick canopy. The trees loom tall and close, their branches twisting overhead to form a natural tunnel, and the underbrush is thick with years of fallen leaves and creeping vines. The underbrush is thick with years of fallen leaves and creeping vines. The air is cool and heavy, carrying the earthy scent of moss and pine, and a silence pervades the area that feels almost deliberate, broken only by the occasional rustle of unseen animals. A silence pervades the area that feels almost deliberate, broken only by the occasional rustle of unseen animals. Travelers along Spook Hill Road have long shared stories of strange occurrences that defy explanation. Flickering lights appear among the trees, sometimes hovering just above the ground, and vanish when approached. Vehicles seem to stall or behave unpredictably without any mechanical cause. And faint sounds of engines, footsteps, or whispers can be heard even when no one is near. The road has earned a reputation as a place where the ordinary rules of perception are suspended, where the natural and supernatural intertwine. The dense forest surrounding the road plays a key role in its eerie atmosphere. Shadows stretch and shift as the sun moves through the sky, creating shapes that seem human in fleeting glimpses. Travelers often report seeing apparitions at the edge of the trees, figures clothed in indistinct garments from past eras, their faces obscured by shadows. These sightings are fleeting, often gone before a closer look can be taken, leaving a lingering sense of unease and a racing pulse. Leaving a lingering sense of unease and a racing pulse. At twilight, the road takes on an otherworldly quality. The fading light filters through the canopy in muted beams, illuminating mist that clings to the forest floor. Shapes in the mist can appear solid, moving along the roadside or disappearing suddenly as if evaporating into the air. Many who have walked or driven the road in these hours describe a sensation of being observed, a presence that is neither threatening nor friendly, but undeniably aware of those passing through its domain. Sound is an essential part of the Spook Hill experience. Travelers often report faint engine noises that seem to come from nowhere. Distant rumblings that echo through the forest. Or the sudden roar of a motor that vanishes without trace. Footsteps crunch along the leaf-littered path when no one is visible. And the sudden roar of a motor that vanishes without trace. These auditory experiences amplify the tension and heighten awareness, making even brief moments on the road feel charged with unseen activity. Several visitors have shared accounts of lights moving in patterns that defy explanation. Orbs that glow softly in red, blue, or amber appear along the road or above the trees. Sometimes hovering in place, sometimes moving with apparent purpose. These lights often disappear when approached, leaving only the memory of a flicker and a sense of being watched. Such experiences have become part of the lore of Spook Hill Road, drawing curiosity seekers and paranormal enthusiasts to its secluded stretches. The road itself is narrow and winding, forcing travelers to move slowly and cautiously. Each curve seems to reveal something new, whether a fleeting shadow, a patch of mist, or the brief glimpse of a figure among the trees. The brief glimpse of a figure among the trees. The twists and bends create a feeling of disorientation, making it difficult to gauge distance and time. Many who traverse the road feel as if they have entered a liminal space, a threshold between the known world and something far older, quiet, and hidden. Even during the day, the forest exerts an almost magnetic pull. Sunlight creates shifting patterns on the road, shadows flicker, and the occasional cool gust of wind seems to move against the natural flow of air. Drivers and pedestrians alike report a sense of anticipation or apprehension, as if the environment itself is alive and aware. The combination of isolation, dense vegetation, and the reports of unusual phenomena makes each visit a uniquely immersive experience. At night, the experience becomes more intense. The road is cloaked in darkness, broken only by vehicle headlights or the occasional moonbeam filtering through the trees. Apparitions are more likely to be seen, lights glow more vividly. And the whispers or distant sounds seem amplified. Travelers report sudden chills, a prickling sensation along the skin. And the eerie feeling of another presence moving just beyond sight. The forest becomes a living entity, its energy palpable and ever-shifting. Spook Hill Road has endured as a place of mystery, where nature, history, and the unexplained converge. Each visitor leaves with a story, a sense of wonder, and sometimes a lingering unease. The road offers an encounter with the unknown, a journey through shadows, lights, and whispers that cannot be easily explained. For those willing to traverse its winding path, Spook Hill Road provides an unforgettable experience. A road that carries the memory of countless travelers, and the quiet persistence of the unexplained. The forest and the road together form a narrative that is both atmospheric and elusive. Every curve, shadow, and flicker of light suggests a story waiting to be uncovered. Spook Hill Road remains a destination where the boundary between the ordinary and the mysterious is blurred, where the past and present seem to coexist, and where every traveler becomes part of an ongoing, enigmatic tale. The Davila S. Road in Tennessee stretches through rolling hills and thick forests, a narrow lane where sunlight barely penetrates the canopy of twisted oaks and pines. The road curves sharply around steep embankments and drops into shadowed valleys, leaving travelers with a constant sense of unease. The air carries the scent of damp earth, fallen leaves, and a faint metallic tang that seems to linger long after passing. Silence dominates most of the route, broken only by the occasional rustle of wind through the trees or the distant call of a bird. Locals speak of the road in hushed tones, describing experiences that are difficult to explain. Shadowy figures have been reported at the edges of vision, standing along the roadside or moving silently between trees. Some appear briefly in headlights before disappearing entirely, leaving no trace behind. Travelers often describe a sensation of being watched, as if the forest itself is aware of each step and pulse, recording their presence for reasons unknown. Footsteps echo in empty stretches where no one is present. And the sudden snap of a twig can startle even the most seasoned visitor. Whispers drift through the trees, carried by the wind, impossible to interpret yet unmistakably human. Some speak of phantom animals appearing at the edge of vision, disappearing when approached. While others report fleeting glimpses of travelers from decades past, their forms faint and fleeting in the dim light. As dusk settles, the atmosphere on the road shifts. Shadows deepen and stretch across the pavement. And fog often rises from the valleys below, creeping along the road in tendrils. The fog softens every sound and blurs the familiar, turning trees into looming figures and the road into a path of uncertainty. Strange lights have been seen floating through the mist, moving erratically before vanishing, leaving travelers questioning the boundary between reality and imagination. Cold spots are common along the route, sudden drops in temperature that leave skin tingling and hair standing on end. These chills often occur in areas where the forest thickens, or near old structures that have long since fallen to decay. Visitors describe a sense of pressure in the air, as if the road itself is aware of their presence, and of an unseen weight pressing upon them, urging caution and respect. The history of the area contributes to the road's ominous reputation. Tragedies, accidents, and unexplained deaths have occurred here over generations. Stories of travelers lost in dense fog or succumbing to the treacherous curves of the road have become part of local lore. Each tale adds another layer of mystery, reinforcing the sense that the road holds on to memories, echoing the pain and fear of those who came before. The road is a place where the ordinary transforms into the uncanny. The twisting path, thick forest, and intermittent fog create a cinematic environment where every rustle and shadow feels meaningful. Figures appear briefly, cold spots appear suddenly, and the wind carries sounds that are never fully explained. Even the most skeptical travelers often find themselves questioning what is real and what is imagined in the presence of such atmosphere. Many visitors have recounted encounters that leave lasting impressions. Phantom figures are seen walking along the roadside, sometimes pausing to watch passing vehicles before disappearing. Whispers and murmurs follow travelers, never forming words but creating a sense of communication from the unseen. Shadows move independently of light, taking shapes that suggest the presence of someone or something just out of reach. Despite its eerie reputation, the Devil's Road continues to draw those intrigued by the unexplained. Each journey offers the possibility of experiencing the unknown firsthand. The road's isolation, combined with its natural beauty and atmospheric conditions, makes it a prime location for encounters that feel both real and otherworldly. Travelers leave with heightened senses, aware of every sound and shadow, and carrying with them a sense of the road's enduring presence. The Devil's Road is more than a forested path. It is a corridor where history, legend, and unexplained phenomena intersect. The combination of shadowy figures, sudden chills, and strange lights creates an environment that is both captivating and unsettling. Every turn, every bend, and every shadow contributes to a larger narrative, one that continues to unfold for anyone willing to travel its length. Each trip along the road reinforces the sense that this is a place apart, where the ordinary rules of time and perception are suspended. The forest, the curves, and the fog all serve to heighten awareness, turning a simple drive into an immersive experience. Visitors sense that the road retains memory, that the tragedies and mysteries of the past are layered invisibly atop the present, waiting to be witnessed by those who pass through. The Davila S. Road in Tennessee remains a living testament to memory, mystery, and the unexplained. Shadowy figures, sudden chills, and whispers carried on the wind ensure that the Roada's reputation endures. Travelers leave with stories to tell, and with a sense of having glimpsed something beyond the ordinary. The road holds on to its secrets, offering an experience where the past and present coexist, and where the forested path continues to whisper, shadow, and watch all who journey along its length. Forest Lane winds quietly through the dense forests of Oregon. A road often overlooked by travelers during the day, yet transformed by night into a place steeped in mystery and quiet unease. The trees arch over the asphalt, forming a natural tunnel through which faint moonlight filters, casting shifting patterns across the road. Shadows stretch and twist, and the darkness seems heavier than ordinary night, carrying with it the sensation of being watched. Those who venture along Forest Lane after dusk often speak of an immediate change in atmosphere. The sounds of the forest grow sharper, each rustle of leaves and snap of twigs amplified. The wind itself seems to whisper, a faint voice indistinguishable yet persistent, echoing through the trunks of the towering evergreens. Travelers report that the whispers often seem to respond to movement, appearing more pronounced when a person stops or slows, creating the sensation of a presence close by, unseen but undeniably real. A thin, pale mist frequently drifts along the lane, curling around tree trunks and drifting over the asphalt. Lights of passing vehicles are swallowed by the haze, and familiar landmarks appear distorted, adding to the disorientation. Some report seeing shapes within the fog, silhouettes that pause at the roadside or flit among the trees, vanishing when looked at directly. Shadowy figures are a common experience on Forest Lane. Witnesses describe forms appearing just beyond the edge of vision. These silhouettes often seem human but unnervingly still, their features undefined yet familiar in shape. When approached, they fade or vanish, leaving only the memory of movement and a subtle drop in temperature. Many travelers recount feeling a cold breeze sweep across them at the exact moment these apparitions appear or disappear, as if the forest itself breathes around the unseen. The road itself is lined with remnants of the past. Weathered fences, abandoned cabins, and forgotten signposts hint at lives once present, now long gone. Some travelers feel drawn to these structures, sensing that the spirits tied to them remain nearby. The occasional distant sound of a door creaking or a branch snapping adds to the forest's restless character. The combination of natural decay and unexplained phenomena creates a heightened sense of suspense, an awareness that the ordinary rules of the living world do not always apply here. Visitors to Forest Lane often describe a sensation of time shifting, where moments feel longer and the forest seems to stretch beyond its physical boundaries. The darkness deepens, and familiar sounds of wildlife fade into silence, leaving only the whispers, the rustle of the mist, and the occasional glimmer of light in the distance. The road feels both inviting and dangerous, an experience that compels curiosity while reminding travelers to remain alert and cautious. Encounters with the unexplained vary widely. Some travelers see fleeting figures moving through the mist, while others report hearing names called softly, or distant laughter that cannot be traced. There are accounts of phantom footsteps echoing behind vehicles, or along paths where no one else could possibly walk. The effects are subtle yet deeply unsettling, leaving witnesses with a sense of lingering presence long after they leave the lane. Forest Lanea's reputation grows from these experiences. While many dismiss the stories as tricks of light, wind, and imagination, the consistency of reports over the years has solidified its status as a place where the unknown manifests. The mixture of dense forest, limited visibility, and historical remnants of past inhabitants Provides a stage for the mind to interpret ordinary occurrences as extraordinary. Yet, for those who have felt the cold drafts, seen the ghostly silhouettes, or heard the whispers firsthand, the lane is undeniably haunted by something beyond explanation. As night progresses, the forest deepens its hold over the lane. The mist thickens, shadows stretch, and the quiet becomes heavier, pressing in from all sides. Lights from distant towns or passing vehicles do little to dispel the atmosphere. And the road seems suspended between worlds. Every bend and turn carries the potential for an encounter. A fleeting figure, or the sensation that someone or something unseen walks beside travelers, moving in rhythm with the forest itself. Forest Lane is more than a road through the Oregon woods. It is a corridor of history, memory, and mystery, where the natural and supernatural intersect. Each visitor brings a story. Whether it is the whisper in the wind, the silhouette that vanished in the mist, or the eerie stillness that follows them home. In the end, Forest Lane remains a place where the ordinary and the extraordinary coexist. Where each step carries the weight of unseen eyes and untold stories. It is a road that invites exploration while demanding respect. A reminder that some forests hold secrets, and that the night often reveals what daylight cannot. Those who traverse it carry with them a memory of whispers, shadows, and the haunting beauty of a place where the past and present mingle beneath the silent canopy of Oregon's dense woodland. Hollow Pines Road winds through thick forests in Washington, a narrow path flanked by towering evergreens whose branches twist together overhead, forming a canopy that blocks much of the sky. The air is heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth, and during daylight the forest seems serene, almost untouched. Yet as night falls, the road transforms, carrying a presence that few can explain. Travelers on Hollow Pines Road speak of strange experiences that begin subtly. A sudden chill descends without warning, brushing across skin even inside a vehicle. Shadows shift in ways that defy the ordinary, moving along the edge of the road or darting between trees. The forest itself seems to breathe, exhaling an atmosphere of tension and unease that grows with every mile traveled. Ghostly travelers are among the most reported phenomena. Figures appear along the roadside, pale and indistinct, sometimes walking as if following an unseen path. These apparitions often vanish when approached or illuminated by headlights, leaving only the impression that some Ania or something had been there. Witnesses describe them as moving with purpose, their pace steady yet impossible to catch, giving the sense that the road is a corridor connecting different times or realities. Sounds on Hollow Pines Road are equally unsettling. Faint footsteps echo on the pavement or among the trees. But when the source is sought, there is nothing there. Whispers drift through the air. Whispers drift through the air, carried by the wind, forming patterns of speech that are unintelligible yet compelling. Rustling leaves and snapping branches suggest movement just beyond the line of sight, intensifying the feeling that the forest is alive and aware of those who traverse it. The road itself contributes to the eerie experiences. Winding turns, steep inclines, and thick vegetation limit visibility, making the forest seem endless. Moonlight filters through the canopy, casting fragmented patterns on the asphalt, which creates illusions of movement and shapes in the shadows. Mist often settles in low areas, softening edges and blurring distinctions between forest and roadway, giving the impression that Hollow Pines Road exists both in the physical world and somewhere beyond. Many travelers report encounters that defy explanation. Vehicles seem to slow inexplicably, even when the road ahead is clear. Some feel watched, sensing an unseen presence lingering nearby, while others describe hearing calls or murmurs that vanish when one turns to locate their source. Each encounter is unique, fleeting, and leaves a lasting impression that continues long after the road has been left behind. The history of Hollow Pines Road adds depth to the experience. For generations, it has connected small communities and served as a passage through dense wilderness. Tales of lost travelers, accidents, and unexplained events have become intertwined with the road's reputation, suggesting that its atmosphere is shaped not only by nature but also by the echoes of past lives. The forest retains memory in subtle ways, manifesting as shadowy figures, sudden cold spots, or the feeling that the road itself is alive with unseen activity. Nightfall intensifies the sensations along Hollow Pines Road. Shadows lengthen, the forest deepens into darkness, and the wind carries sounds that seem to originate from nowhere. The forest deepens into darkness, and the wind carries sounds that seem to originate from nowhere. Trees sway with no apparent breeze. Trees sway with no apparent breeze, and the combination of limited visibility and environmental cues heightens the sense of unreality. Every turn or bend presents the potential for another encounter. Every turn or bend presents the potential for another encounter, ensuring that each journey is distinct and unpredictable. Encounters are often brief but impactful. Figures may appear for a moment, pause, or gesture, then vanish as if dissolving into the night. The impression of movement is sometimes accompanied by a feeling of being followed, only to find the road empty when one stops. Some witnesses describe seeing shapes in the corner of their eyes, moments that disappear instantly when attention is fully focused. These experiences contribute to the enduring mystique of Hollow Pines Road, cementing its place among the most enigmatic routes in the region. The interplay between natural beauty and supernatural presence makes Hollow Pines Road compelling. By night, it becomes a threshold where ordinary perception meets the unknown, a place where ghostly travelers and eerie sounds blur the line between reality and legend. Those who venture onto this road find themselves immersed in an environment that is both breathtaking and unsettling, a journey that evokes awe, fear, and curiosity in equal measure. Hollow Pines Road remains a destination for those drawn to mystery and the unexplained. Each journey offers the possibility of witnessing the ephemeral, experiencing the forest's hidden stories, and sensing the presence of travelers from another time or dimension. As dawn breaks and the shadows recede, the road returns to its daytime calm, yet the memory of what may have been seen or felt lingers. Hollow Pines Road is more than a road, it is a living testament to the unknown, a place where the forest whispers its secrets and the night holds its mysteries for those willing to listen. Witch's Trail winds through the dense forests of Colorado, a narrow path shadowed by towering pines and thick underbrush. The road follows the contours of the land, curving around hills and cutting through valleys where mist gathers in the early hours. The forest here is alive with the whispers of wind through branches, the occasional rustle of unseen animals, and the persistent sense of isolation that comes with traveling far from the nearest town. The trail is known for its dark history, a record of accidents and unexplained disappearances that have marked the area for generations. Travelers speak of sudden fog that appears without warning, obscuring vision and making familiar paths feel unfamiliar. Footsteps echo where no one walks, and the atmosphere seems charged with anticipation, as if the forest itself holds its breath, waiting. Many who have traversed Witch's Trail recount sightings of phantom lights flickering in the distance. These lights move in ways that defy explanation, appearing to float above the ground or between trees, shifting with an almost sentient intelligence. They vanish when approached, leaving only a lingering glow and a sense of unease. Some describe the lights as guiding, others as warning, but all agree that they are not of this world. Shadowy figures are another common occurrence along the trail. These figures appear at the edge of vision, lingering near bends or just beyond the mist, and vanish the moment a direct look is taken. The presence of these silhouettes creates a tension that grows with each step, a feeling that the path is not merely a road but a threshold to something unknown. The natural surroundings of Witch's Trail amplify its haunting qualities. Trees twist and bend in unexpected directions, their gnarled branches forming shapes that can resemble figures watching from above. Each curve and clearing becomes a stage for unexplained phenomena. Moss and undergrowth cover the ground in thick layers, muffling sound and making movement seem slower, more deliberate. Each curve and clearing becomes a stage for unexplained phenomena. Sound along the trail adds to its eerie atmosphere. The wind whistles through narrow gaps between trees, carrying faint echoes that sound like whispers or distant voices. Branches snap underfoot when no one walks nearby, and the soft patter of water from hidden streams can take on an unnatural rhythm. Travelers often experience sudden drops in temperature, a chill that seeps into clothing and bones, making the forest feel alive with unseen energy. Historical accounts speak of the trail's past, a place where accidents and disappearances occurred under mysterious circumstances. These stories persist, becoming woven into the local lore, and they inform the expectations of anyone who dares to walk the trail after dark. Some suggest that the spirits of those lost remain, bound to the path by unresolved events, creating a lingering presence that can be felt but not seen. At twilight, Witch's Trail transforms. The dimming light mingles with rising mist to create an almost surreal landscape. Phantom lights become more vivid against the dark backdrop, and the chance of encountering a shadowy figure increases. Each step feels heavier, as if the forest itself resists movement, and every sound becomes amplified, making ordinary noises seem extraordinary. Visitors who navigate the trail at night report a profound sense of being observed. The presence of unseen entities is described as neither malevolent nor welcoming, but undeniably aware. Footsteps fall behind or beside travelers, yet when looked for, they find no source. The trail itself seems to guide, warn, and test those who pass through it, a living entity shaped by history, natural elements, and the unexplained. Even during the day, the trail retains a spectral quality. Sunlight filtering through the canopy creates patterns that flicker and shift. And sudden gusts of wind can carry sounds that resemble voices or movement. The isolation of the trail, combined with its physical characteristics and history, ensures that every traveler experiences a sense of suspense, curiosity, and sometimes fear. Each visit becomes a story, unique yet echoing the experiences of those who came before. Witch's Trail is more than a forest path. It is a corridor through memory, legend, and the unknown. Where history leaves its mark and the natural world interacts with forces beyond explanation. Each bend and clearing offers an encounter with the mysterious. A place where shadows, lights, and whispers converge to create an immersive experience. The trail endures as a testament to the power of landscape, history, and the human imagination. Inviting those who walk it to witness a world where the line between reality and the unseen is blurred. The road and its surroundings form a continuous narrative of tension, atmosphere, and subtle menace. Every moment along Witch's Trail is a delicate balance between caution and curiosity. A journey that engages the senses, challenges perception, and leaves an indelible impression. For those willing to traverse its length, the trail provides an encounter with the extraordinary. A living story of shadowy figures, phantom lights, and the quiet persistence of the unknown. Blackwood Road in Kentucky winds through dense forests and rolling hills, a stretch of asphalt that seems ordinary by day but takes on an entirely different character as dusk falls. Tall trees line either side, their branches interlocking overhead to form a dark canopy that swallows the remaining light. The air feels heavier here, carrying a faint chill even on warm evenings, and a sense of stillness permeates the area. Every sound is amplified, from the rustle of leaves to the distant cry of an owl, creating an atmosphere that is at once serene and unsettling. Locals speak cautiously about the road, sharing stories of strange experiences that defy explanation. Travelers have reported shadowy figures flitting between the trees, visible only for a heartbeat before vanishing. Some claim to have seen silhouettes standing at the edge of the road, their forms indistinct yet undeniably human. These figures appear unexpectedly, sometimes in headlights, only to disappear when approached, leaving no trace behind. Visitors often speak of sudden drops in temperature, pockets of cold air that seem to follow or surround them. The chill carries a weight, pressing against the skin and deepening the sense of being watched. Whispers drift through the forest, soft and indistinct, impossible to locate but impossible to ignore. Many who travel the road alone describe an overwhelming sensation that they are not truly alone, that unseen eyes are tracking their progress along the winding path. As night falls, the forest takes on a more ominous tone. Fog frequently rises from the valleys, rolling across the road in thin tendrils that blur the familiar landscape. Headlights cut through the mist, illuminating glimpses of movement that vanish as quickly as they appear. Strange lights have been reported hovering in the distance, flickering and shifting as if alive, or floating just above the tree line. The history of Blackwood Road adds layers to its reputation. Tragic accidents, unexplained disappearances, and local legends have combined to give the area a sense of lingering memory. Some believe that the road retains echoes of past events, and that the spirits of those who perished here continue to traverse the forested path. Each story, whether shared around a campfire or whispered in town, contributes to the Roada's eerie aura and reinforces the warnings passed down through generations. Travelers have described fleeting encounters that leave lasting impressions. A figure may appear suddenly at the roadside, a phantom traveler seemingly walking alongside the car for a moment before disappearing into the trees. Shadows shift unnaturally in the corners of vision, and the forest seems to stretch and contract in ways that defy logic. Even familiar landmarks can feel alien under the cloak of night and fog, turning a simple drive into an immersive, almost cinematic experience. Animals are not immune to the road's strange energy. Reports of phantom animals moving through the trees have surfaced, appearing briefly as glowing eyes or moving shapes before vanishing. The wind carries sounds that are not easily explained, from footsteps along the roadside to faint murmurs drifting through the forest. Travelers report a growing sense of unease with each mile, as if the road itself is aware of their presence and testing their resolve. Despite the unsettling experiences, Blackwood Road continues to draw the curious and the brave. The isolation, combined with the forested scenery and atmospheric conditions, creates a setting ripe for encounters with the unexplained. The road is a place where the ordinary is suspended, and every curve, shadow, and rustle feels imbued with significance. It is an environment where perception is heightened, and every passerby becomes acutely aware of the unseen forces that may inhabit the forest. Despite the unsettling experiences, Blackwood Road continues to draw the curious and the brave. The Roada's mysteries are not always dramatic. Some travelers report subtle experiences, like feeling the presence of someone standing nearby, or noticing a shadow move independently of the light. Cold spots and whispers are often cited, and the feeling of being watched never fully fades. Each story adds depth to the growing legend of Blackwood Road, creating an enduring reputation that mixes folklore with first-hand experience. The journey along this road is as much psychological as it is physical. The twisting path, dense forest, and intermittent fog transform a simple drive into an encounter with the unknown. Travelers leave with heightened senses and a sense of reverence for the environment, aware that the road carries with it memories, energy, and stories that persist long after the last headlights have vanished. Blackwood Road remains a testament to the power of place and perception. Its combination of shadowy figures, sudden chills, whispers, and unexplained lights ensures that the Roada's reputation continues to grow. Those who travel its length experience a heightened awareness, a subtle tension, and a connection to a landscape that is at once beautiful and mysterious. The forested path stretches on, holding its secrets and inviting those who dare to witness the unexplained along its winding course. For anyone journeying along Blackwood Road, the experience is unforgettable. Every curve, shadow, and echo tells a story, and every step along the path is an encounter with the unknown. The forest watches silently, the air carries whispers from the past, and the road itself continues to challenge and intrigue all who travel its haunted expanse. The legend of Blackwood Road endures, a place where history, mystery, and the unexplained converge under the shadowed canopy of Kentucky's forest. Forest roads are meant to take us through Naturia's beauty. But these haunted paths remind us that the past is never truly gone. Every shadow, whisper, and unexplained sound is a reminder that spirits linger where tragedy and mystery once occurred. Next time you drive along a forest road at night, remember these haunted locations. Would you dare to stop if you saw a figure in the darkness or hear a whisper calling your name from the trees? Some forest roads are not just roads, they are gateways into encounters with the unknown that will haunt your memories long after the journey ends.